Bitcoin is still consolidating, and honestly, it is getting ready for a major breakout anytime soon here. And yesterday, Donald Trump said they are talking to China. And with right now Arizona passing its first official strategic Bitcoin reserve bill to the final committee, a first state Bitcoin reserve is about to happen anytime soon here. And while this was happening all here yesterday, we've got the fourth interest rate cut by the European Union. And this, of course, is forecasting a major global liquidity expansion. So I'm gonna be talking about this, what it means for the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market right now in the imminent short term. I'm gonna be talking about the major short positions in the market right now here, the most important charts that are telling us something about where Bitcoin is currently standing in the market and what we're likely to be expecting next year. So without any further ado, don't forget to once again snap with that like button back above 1,000 likes, will be highly appreciated. And let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So right now, Bitcoin is still consolidating on that 1 hour time frame between the range high and the range low. And honestly, there's just not a lot of volatility in the current markets. There's a lot of uncertainty still in the market. And of course, that is due to the fact that we're having this major trade war between the US and China, obviously. And while we're looking at Bitcoin, we're still seeing that we indeed broke outside of the downward sloping trend line. And basically that we're still consolidating against the EMA ribbon of resistance and of course below the previous range high in the market. So these are the exact levels I'm currently looking at. And honestly, I'm just waiting to see whenever we're going to be seeing the next breakout above that range high, because whenever we're going to be seeing so, that is where the big continuation is going to be taking place. But so far, we have not seen that. And while this all has been happening, actually there's been one ETF issuer that has been consistently buying Bitcoin, and that has been BlackRock. So far this year, they've bought over 20,000 Bitcoin, while many of the other issuers have been actually selling off their Bitcoin. So this is a very interesting trend that is still continuing. BlackRock is still buying while other ETF issuers are still selling. So very interesting to be seeing that here. And I mean, I want you to be pointing out that hash rate on Bitcoin is right now absolutely exploding. And while we're seeing the hash rate explode, Bitcoin tends to usually follow that exact hash rate. So excited for that here. And honestly, I just can't wait to see how it's going to be playing out here. And right now, if we're going to compare Bitcoin to gold, it is actually looking so interesting right now at this moment of time here. Bitcoin is seeing that exact same retest just like gold saw. And just moments after gold had this retest, it actually surged up over 72% towards the upside. Bitcoin is also exactly creating that cup and handle pattern. And it is just looking extremely bullish. And if we're going to be looking to the seasonality since 2020, of course, 2022 was a very bad year for Bitcoin. But that happened due to the fact that we didn't saw any global liquidity expansion. And actually in 2022, we saw, of course, the US and the Eurozone shrinking their money supply here. But this trend is shifting right now here. With global liquidity hitting new all-time highs, it is usually forecasting Bitcoin is also going to be going up towards new precedented all-time highs here. And actually, while we're looking at this news here, yesterday we got European Union once again cutting their interest rates by 0.25%. And actually, this is the fourth time they are already cutting rates this year. And if we're going to be looking at their interest rate charts, it is expected actually, if we're going to be looking at consensus, that in 2026, it's going to be hitting 0% again here. And that is, of course, potentially going to be increasing. And that is for sure going to be doing one thing, and that is, of course, increase the money supply here. And Donald Trump has also stated Europe has been cutting their interest rates, putting us at a disadvantage. And he urges the Federal Reserve to cut its interest rates as soon as possible. Then yesterday as well, Donald Trump, he said he made a minerals deal with Ukraine, and that is potentially, of course, going to be great for all markets. And you have to understand that about 80% of all the dollars has been created. So honestly, if you're still doubting about investing in Bitcoin, I really think Bitcoin is a great long-term solution. And like you can see, money can be printed in such a fast manner, and Bitcoin, of course, can't here. So make sure to be paying attention towards that here. But anyways, right now, Donald Trump yesterday also said that he is talking to China to make a deal. And honestly, if they make a deal, that would ultimately be very great for markets. The markets are still in extreme fear across the stock market, across crypto. And if I'm looking right now at the funding rates, still the majority of the traders are trading short on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and most of the altcoins. So most of the people are still shorting the majority of the altcoins, and that basically means that they still think the market is actually going to go lower. But if we then see that push towards the upside, we're going to be squeezing out all those short positions, and we're going to get a big explosive move towards the upside. And just like I said earlier, I'm looking at a very big trade here, but for me to open up this big trade, I need to see a confirmation above the range high. But already I have an accumulation trade open here on Pionex, which you can exactly copy like I am doing right now as well here. This trade on Bitcoin and Ethereum basically makes sure to accumulate with leverage along the way down here, all the way down to $65,000, which I think is the ultimate bottom on Bitcoin. And whenever we do push towards the upside, it is slowly going to be cashing out those positions. So it's exactly doing the same with Ethereum. And if you want to be copying any of my trades, guys, I've already set it up here. You only have to go to the second highest link description of today's video to copy my Bitcoin trade, or the third one to go to copy my Ethereum trade here. And honestly, guys, if you copy any of these trades here, it is honestly one of the best ways to accumulate and to have a least amount of risk trading strategy in the market right now here. Now, there's not a lot of volatility, but of course, if we do push towards the lower side, it will keep on buying. And if it pushes higher, it's going to be distributing the position. So very much a very low risk strategy. And I really like this way of trading. And if you want to be copying it, don't forget to check it out in the link description of today's video. Further on, I do want to be pointing out that Ethereum still remains in my very much interest range here. Ethereum is of course at a low where I'm personally very much interested in. And if you're just looking at all these charts, the Ethereum compared to Bitcoin valuation hitting weekly, and I say weekly, but I mean actually yearly support right now here. We are seeing the global liquidity breaking out here. And the last time this happened, this marked the bottom for Ethereum as well here. Ethereum against Bitcoin is down over 66% here. Just like 2020, we saw a little bit of a bigger correction, but this is really a major correction. And it is right now once again. And if I'm looking at the Bitcoin dominance as well, it is right now sitting at that supply zone right now. And of course, the Ethereum compared to Bitcoin valuation is sitting at a demand zone. So this is very much an interesting range in my opinion, where the risk is most certainly quite low here and the reward could potentially be absolutely enormous. Also, if you're looking at Ethereum against the dollar on the monthly time frame, we are sitting at the most oversold condition we've ever been here. And BlackRock, they hold over $2 billion worth of Ethereum, and they are not making this move just to make a loss here, guys. You have to understand that here. Also, Donald Trump holding more than $500 million worth of Ethereum. I really think the potential is absolutely enormous, especially around this level where we're currently trading on. And I'm not saying it's going to be exploding towards $10,000 or whatsoever, but I do think a short-term explosion back all the way up to $2,500 is actually a target that I think is quite likely to be reached here on Ethereum. So that is where I'm preparing myself for right now here. But anyways, this is it for me in today's update video. If you did enjoy it, learn something from it, don't forget to slap with a like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.